Imagine walking into a 1950s drugstore, your eyes wide at the colorful wrappers lining the shelves. Each one promised a new, exciting taste, a little piece of the American dream you could unwrap and enjoy. From Cracker Jack and candy cigarettes to wax bottles and fizzies. These are 25 popular snacks of our childhood, some of which you might have forgotten about. Cracker Jack. Picture a sun-drenched day at the ballpark. The crack of the bat echoes through the air, and the crowd goes wild. But listen closely. What's that familiar rustling sound from the stands? It's Cracker Jack boxes. This beloved snack has been part of our culture since 1896. German immigrant Frederick Rueckheim first showed off his caramel-coated popcorn and peanut mix at the Chicago World's Fair, where fairgoers couldn't get enough. People fell in love with its sweet and salty taste right away. Remember digging through your box for the prize? That little surprise was a clever marketing trick that made Cracker Jacks special. Each box promised a new treasure, turning snack time into an adventure. At first you'd find paper tattoos, but later there were tiny toys, puzzles, and figurines. Cracker Jack became a baseball tradition thanks to the song,
"Take me out to the ball game, take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home."
Soon, no trip to the stadium felt complete without it. By the 1950s, it was in homes across America, reminding people of lazy summer days and simple joys. Whether at the ballpark or in your living room, Cracker Jack was more than just a snack. It was a piece of Americana. Now, let's unwrap another treat that had us all asking for seconds: Twinkies.
Hostess Twinkies. Yes, sir, and I know that the folks in Dutyville will surely love these.
In 1930, as the Great Depression hit, Baker James DeYour came up with a sweet idea that would change snack time forever. He made a golden sponge cake filled with cream, selling for just a nickel. This simple treat would go on to survive economic hardships and changing tastes in America. Twinkies quickly became a hit in lunchboxes, loved by kids and grown-ups alike. When World War II caused a banana shortage, Hostess switched from banana to vanilla cream, creating the flavor we know today. Their long shelf life, which became the stuff of legend, made them perfect for busy families. Over time, Twinkies grew into more than just a snack. They showed up in courtrooms and pop culture, even sparking the famous Twinkie defense in a 1980s murder trial. You'd see them in movies, TV shows, and all over American life. Even as health trends changed, Twinkies kept their fans. When Twinkies briefly disappeared in 2012, people went crazy trying to stock up. Their comeback in 2013 proved that some childhood favorites never go out of style. From Depression-era treat to American icon, Twinkies have stuck around through thick and thin. But if you ask me, they got worse and worse over time, and I miss the good old Twinkies from my childhood, candy cigarettes. When hanging out with my friends on a warm summer day in the 50s, we had an easy way to look, just like adults. One of us pulls out a pack of cigarettes, and you feel excited and nervous. But these cigarettes aren't what you think. Candy cigarettes showed up in the late 1950s, and kids went crazy for them. These sugar sticks looked like real cigarettes, letting kids play pretend and act like grown-ups. They were a big hit on playgrounds everywhere, but not everyone liked these fake smokes. Some people worried they'd make kids think smoking was okay. Back then, we had a whole different view on smoking. The candy boxes often looked like real cigarette packs, which made folks nervous about selling tobacco to children. Even with all the fuss, Candy cigarettes stayed popular and were easy to find in stores. As people started to see smoking differently, candy cigarettes changed too. Some countries said no to selling them at all. Other places started calling them candy sticks instead to avoid any connection to smoking. These days, it's harder to find these once common treats. They remind us of a time when people thought smoking was cool, not dangerous. What was your favorite snack growing up? Drop a comment below and let us know. I'll share my all-time favorite snack in a bit. Just thinking about it has my mouth watering already. Moon pies. It's a sweltering day in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and coal miners are looking for a filling snack to get them through their long shifts. How do you make a portable treat that won't melt in a lunchbox and can satisfy hungry workers? Enter the moon pie, created in 1917 at the Chattanooga Bakery. This clever treat sandwiched marshmallow filling between 2 graham crackers, all covered in chocolate or vanilla. It was perfect, easy to carry, and delicious. Moon pies quickly became a Southern favorite, often paired with an ice-cold RC Cola. An RC Cola and a moon pie became a saying that spread across the South, representing simple comfort.
Give me an RC Cola and a moon pie and play maple on the hill. I'll catch that freight train on the fly and leave my corn down at the mill. Give me an RC Cola and a moon pie and play maple on the hill.
By the 1950s, moon pies were a hit with families and kids, selling for just 5 cents each. The Chattanooga Bakery was making millions of them every year. As people's tastes changed, moon pies did too. New flavors joined the original chocolate and vanilla. Have you ever tried toasting one over a campfire? The warm, gooey marshmallow inside is amazing. This reminds me of my childhood. From its humble start to becoming a Southern icon, the moon pie has been loved for generations. Its journey from miners' lunchboxes to candy aisles everywhere shows just how popular it remains. Good and plenty. In 1893, the Quaker City Chocolate Company created Good and Plenty, combining licorice with a colorful candy coating. Americans loved this unique treat. The pink and white pieces became popular because of their fun texture, a crunchy shell with a chewy licorice inside. People even enjoyed sorting the colors before eating. It became a household name by the 1950s. Remember Choo Choo Charlie? This cartoon train engineer was the candy's mascot, starring in commercials with a catchy song. Charlie says,
"Love my good and plenty," Charlie says. "Really rings the bell," Charlie says. "Love my good and plenty, don't know any other candy that I love so well."
This clever marketing made Good and Plenty a big part of American culture. Over time, Good and Plenty proved it was here to stay. It's now known as America's oldest branded candy, showing just how much people love it. Whether you're a licorice fan or just love old-school treats, Good and Plenty is still a favorite for candy lovers young and old. Now, let's talk about another exciting candy that was known for its fizzy fun. Fizzies.
Fizzies come in all sorts of delicious flavors, and they're so easy to make. Drop of Fizzies in a glass, watch the magic come to pass. Fizzies bubble and fizz, they're so exciting. Bring the wonderful world of Fizzies into your own house.
In the 1950s, Fizzies made plain water exciting. The Emerson Drug Company created these tablets that turned water into a soda-like drink, wowing kids and adults. Could this new idea really compete with big soda companies? Fizzies came in all sorts of flavors that we kids loved. Remember how fun it was to drop a grape, cherry, or root beer tablet into your glass? At just 19 cents for 8 tablets, families found Fizzies a cheap way to replace bottled sodas. As they got more popular, Fizzies became a common sight in many homes. We enjoyed making our own drinks, and parents liked how easy and cheap they were. But the fizzy fun hit a snag in 1968 when the FDA banned cyclamates, one of Fizzy's main ingredients, because of health worries. This caused Fizzies to lose popularity, but that wasn't the end. In the mid-1990s, Fizzies came back for a short time with a new recipe. Even though it didn't last long, this comeback showed how much people still remembered and loved these fizzy treats. Our next treat was totally different, bringing heat instead of bubbles. Atomic fireballs. In 1954, a candy maker at the Ferrara Pan Candy Company cooked up something truly explosive for America's taste buds. Inspired by the post-war atomic age craze, atomic fireballs hit the candy scene, daring kids and adults to test their limits with a fiery cinnamon flavor. These bright red jawbreakers packed a serious punch. Made over 2 weeks, each candy got layer after layer of spicy cinnamon, creating a treat that got hotter the longer you sucked on it. It was like a tasty challenge in every piece. I remember that atomic fireballs quickly became a challenge on playgrounds. Kids would dare each other to keep one in their mouth as long as possible without giving up. Cheap and fun, these spicy balls created lots of shared memories and laughs. Soon, eating contests and challenges popped up, making atomic fireballs even more popular. Next up, we'll cool things down with a sweet and simple treat. Candy buttons. Picture a long strip of paper dotted with tiny, colorful bumps of sugar. These were candy buttons, a treat that kids loved in the 1950s. Eating candy stuck to paper was messy, but that was part of the fun. The Cumberland Valley Company created candy buttons in the 1930s. They made a machine that put little dots of flavored sugar on paper strips. The buttons were bright and colorful, with simple sugar flavors. They were small, sweet, and had a slight crunch. Remember how exciting it was to peel those dots off the paper? It was like a game and a snack rolled into one. We often pretended the dots were medicine when playing make-believe. You could find candy buttons easily in stores and at fairs, so kids everywhere enjoyed them. In the late 1970s, Necco bought candy buttons and kept them popular. These sugar dots became a special memory for many people, reminding them of their childhood. Pez. In 1927, Austrian confectioner Eduard Haas III had a bright idea. He created a peppermint candy to help people quit smoking. He never imagined this simple mint would become a pop culture hit loved by kids and adults for generations. Pez really changed things up in 1952. They introduced their famous dispenser, making candy more fun to eat. Kids went wild for Santa Claus and robot-shaped dispensers. It was like getting a toy and candy at the same time. Pez didn't stop at peppermint. They added lots of fruity flavors kids couldn't get enough of. Soon, people weren't just eating Pez, they were collecting the dispensers. Remember, swapping dispensers with friends to get all your favorite characters. By the 1950s, everyone knew about Pez. The character dispensers became more than just candy holders. They were like tiny pieces of art that captured what was popular at the time. From Mickey Mouse to Star Wars, Pez dispensers have become treasures for fans, young and old, till this day. Ready for our next sweet childhood treat. Let's talk about a chocolatey snack that became a must-have at movie theaters. Whoppers. First called Giants, these malty treats were renamed Whoppers in 1950. This simple mix of crunchy malt and smooth chocolate was on its way to becoming a favorite. Whoppers' unique texture was their biggest selling point. Each bite gave a satisfying crunch, followed by a melt-in-your-mouth feeling that kept people coming back for more. The makers carefully balanced the crisp malt center with a smooth chocolate coating. As Whoppers got more popular, their packaging changed too. They went from simple boxes to those milk cartons we all know. This smart packaging helped them stand out in stores and made them easier to carry around. By the 1950s, Whoppers were everywhere in movie theaters across America. Picture yourself sitting down, the lights going dim, and reaching for that familiar carton of chocolatey treats. Their long-lasting flavor kept moviegoers happy from start to finish, making Whoppers a big part of going to the movies. But I am sure you will remember the next snack on the list: Bazooka Bubblegum. In 1947, the Topps Company had a clever idea that changed bubblegum forever. They wrapped each piece of their pink gum with a comic strip starring Bazooka Joe. Would this simple gum stand out among flashy candies and chocolate bars? Kids loved the Bazooka Joe comics right away. I remember that the wrappers had jokes, stories, and puzzles, making gum chewing an adventure. How fun it was to unwrap a new Bazooka Joe story. It felt like getting two treats at once. Topps kept kids coming back with prizes and contests. Saving wrappers to get toy soldiers or temporary tattoos was part of the fun. The gum's link to baseball cards made it even more popular with young collectors. As the 1950s went on, Bazooka bubblegum became a big part for me growing up. It only cost a few cents, so us kids could buy it easily. On playgrounds, we'd competing to blow the biggest bubbles and trade pieces. The flavor lasted a long time, and it was fun to chew, making it perfect for recess and after school. Do you remember this gum? Rice Krispies Treats. In 1939, Kellogg's employee Mildred Day came up with an idea that would change snack time forever. The company needed a fundraising treat for campfire girls, so Day mixed Rice Krispies cereal with melted marshmallows and butter. The result? A chewy, crispy delight that was an instant hit. This simple 3-ingredient recipe became a lasting favorite. It was so easy that even kids could make it, turning Rice Krispies treats into a symbol of home cooking and togetherness. In the 1950s, these gooey squares were everywhere, from bake sales to family gatherings across America. Remember that satisfying snap, crackle, and pop when you bit into one? Families couldn't resist them. Moms made them for after-school snacks, and they were a must-have at every social event. Over time, Rice Krispies treats grew from a fundraising idea into a part of American culture. Kellogg's caught on to their popularity and started selling prepackaged versions in 1995. These treats have stuck around, becoming more than just a snack. They're a shared experience for many Americans. Next up is another colorful classic that snack lovers couldn't get enough of: Dots. Dots quickly became special in the candy world. Their unique, soft yet chewy texture made them different from other gumdrops. Biting into a dot gave a satisfying resistance and a burst of fruity flavor. The original flavors remind me of summer, and people loved them. Over time, dots became a big part of American snacking, especially at movie theaters. Remember sharing those small resealable boxes during films. They were cheap enough for kids to buy, making them a popular choice for anyone with a sweet tooth. Tootsie Roll Industries saw how much people loved Dots and bought the brand in 1972. Now they make a whopping 4 billion Dots every year in Chicago. While they've added new flavors, the original ones are still the most popular, showing how timeless they are. But Dots weren't the only candy to win our hearts. Our next treat took sweets to new heights, in more ways than one: flying saucer wafers. In the 1950s, UFO sightings were all the rage in America. People couldn't stop talking about mysterious flying objects in the sky. This excitement led to the creation of a unique candy, flying saucer wafers. These colorful disc-shaped treats quickly became popular in candy stores. Kids and grown-ups alike loved them. Imagine holding one of these UFO-shaped candies. They had a thin, crispy rice paper shell with tiny, crunchy candy beads inside. Eating a flying saucer wafer was pretty fun. When you bit into it, the wafer would crack and break apart, letting out a bunch of sweet, fizzy beads. It was a totally different experience from other candies. Kids loved trading different flavors and sharing their own made-up UFO stories at school. Flying saucer wafers became more than just a candy. They were part of the culture. They showed how fascinated people were with space and the unknown. These treats let everyone feel a bit closer to the exciting future everyone was imagining. Root beer barrels. The timing was perfect. Root beer was hugely popular in the 1950s, a favorite at soda fountains across the country. The company Necco took a chance on bringing this soda shop favorite to the candy aisle, and it worked out great. Other companies as well started selling root beer barrels. Like, pop one in your mouth, and you'd get a slow release of that bold root beer taste. It was like drinking a cold mug of root beer, but without the fizz. People loved these candies. Kids would fill their pockets with them and enjoy them all day long. There was something special about having a drink in candy form. Biting into a root beer Necco wafer, you tasted a sweet and slightly tangy flavor that really captured the essence of root beer. The wafer's chalky texture actually made the flavor even better, creating a unique candy experience that was hard to resist. Root beer Necco wafers quickly became a hit. Kids loved having a candy that tasted like their favorite soda, while adults enjoyed the nostalgia. Over time, these root beer treats became more than just candy. They were a sweet reminder of simpler times in American snacking. By the way, where are you tuning in from? Pixie Sticks? In the 1930s, the Sunline Candy Company had a problem. Their drink mix wasn't selling. Then someone had an idea. What if kids could eat the powder straight? This clever twist created Pixie Sticks, a candy that changed how we think about sweets. Remember those colorful straws filled with flavored sugar? Pixie Sticks came in all sorts of tastes that kids loved. The fun part was pouring the sweet tart powder right into your mouth. It felt like doing a tasty science experiment. By the 1950s, Pixie Sticks were huge on the playground. We shared them with friends, compared flavors, and dared each other to try the sourest ones. The bright packaging made them impossible to resist, showing just how fun this candy could be. But it wasn't all good times. As people started worrying more about kids' health, parents began to question sugary snacks like Pixie Sticks. Even so, these powdery treats left their mark on candy history, changing the way we enjoy sweets even today. Next up is a classic candy from the beach that really knows how to stretch: saltwater taffy. In the late 1800s, a storm surge flooded an Atlantic City candy store, creating a sticky situation that became a sweet legend. When a customer asked for taffy, the shopkeeper jokingly offered saltwater taffy because of the seawater that had mixed with his candy. This joke started a beloved boardwalk tradition. Saltwater taffy became hugely popular in the 1950s as the go-to souvenir from beach trips. Seaside candy shops lured you in with colorful displays and tempting smells. Whether you liked vanilla or dared to try licorice, there was a flavor for everyone. Watching taffy being made was a show in itself. Candy makers stretched and folded the sticky stuff, turning it into smooth, small pieces. Kids and grown-ups alike loved watching this sugary performance. Over time, saltwater taffy grew to mean more than just candy. It reminds me of laid-back summer days, sandy beaches, and ocean waves. This chewy treat became a big part of American beach culture, taking folks back to their best summer memories. Wax bottles? Imagine unwrapping a tiny wax bottle filled with colorful, sugary liquid. In the 1950s, these wax bottles, also known as Nick L. Nips, were a unique candy that was both fun and sweet. But what would you do with the bottle after drinking the syrup? These little wax treats were special because you could use them twice. First, you'd bite off the top and drink the fruity syrup inside. It felt like having your own tiny soda bottle. Then, once the syrup was gone, you could chew on the wax, kind of like gum. Wax bottles became really popular, especially with kids. Friends would often share them, making it a fun group activity. It wasn't just about eating candy. It was about spending time together and making memories. As years went by, wax bottles became something people looked back on fondly. They reminded folks of a time when simple things could make you really happy. These candies showed how treats could be more than just food. They could be an experience. Speaking of experiences, our next treat is a crisp cookie that made you feel like a grown-up. Pepperidge Farm cookies. In 1937, Margaret Rudkin started baking bread for her son with allergies on their Connecticut farm. She had no idea this would grow into a famous brand. How did her small operation take on big companies? Rudkin's focus on wholesome recipes caught local grocers' attention. As her business grew, she branched out. In the 1950s, she added cookies inspired by European flavors to Pepperidge Farm's lineup. The distinctive cookies named after European cities felt fancy and special. The cookies' elegant packaging made them stand out from regular snacks. Remember how exciting it was to open a bag of Milano or Bordeaux cookies? These weren't ordinary treats. They were something special. Over time, Pepperidge Farm cookies became part of American culture. They stood for quality and reminded people of home-baked goodness. As the country changed, these cookies connected folks to simpler times. From its humble start to becoming a household name, Pepperidge Farm's story showed how American tastes were evolving. Our next snack was also popular, but for a different reason. It was perfect for cooling off on hot summer days. Popsicles and creamsicles. On a hot summer day in 1905, 11-year-old Frank Epperson accidentally left a cup of soda outside overnight with a stick in it. The next morning, he found a frozen treat that would become an American favorite. This lucky mistake turned into the popsicle we enjoy till today. By the 1950s, popsicles were a summer hit. Kids everywhere looked forward to the icy, fruity flavors that helped them cool off. The creamsicle joined in, mixing fruity outer layers with creamy vanilla centers. These frozen snacks quickly became a big part of summer fun. When kids heard the ice cream truck coming, they'd rush to find coins, excited to get a popsicle or creamsicle. These weren't just tasty treats. They became part of growing up in America, reminding people of carefree summer days. Many popsicles came with 2 sticks, making them easy to share. I remember breaking a popsicle in half for a friend was a common sight at summer parties and neighborhood get-togethers. From backyard cookouts to pool parties, popsicles and creamsicles were always popular. Did I miss any snacks? Let me know which ones shaped your childhood. In the comments, I might do a part 2. Now let's continue our sweet journey. Sugar Daddy Caramel Pops. This treat stood out because of its slow-melting caramel, which both kids and adults loved. As the Sugar Daddy got more popular, Welch added Sugar Babies and Sugar Mama to the lineup. But the original Sugar Daddy was the real star, if you ask me. By the 1950s, you'd find these lollipops in movie theaters all over America. Imagine sitting down for a double feature with a Sugar Daddy in hand. It was a classic American experience. The Sugar Daddy wasn't just about taste. Each package came with wildlife baby cards that we collected and traded. This made the candy even more fun and memorable. Over the years, Sugar Daddy stayed popular, reminding people of simpler times and long afternoons at the movies. Did you go to the circus when you were a kid? Because that is what our next treat is all about. Lucky Elephant. Pink candy popcorn. Picture a circus tent, the air filled with the smell of fresh popcorn. But how could this classic snack get even more exciting for kids? Enter Lucky Elephant Pink Candy Popcorn, a Canadian treat that won over American children in the 1950s. Lucky Elephant was eye-catching. Each piece of popcorn had a bright pink candy coating, making it sweet and crunchy. It tasted like sugar with a fruity twist that kids couldn't resist. And just like Cracker Jack, every box had a surprise inside. Remember how fun it was to search through your popcorn for a little toy? It made eating the snack an adventure. This mix of yummy treat and hidden prize made Lucky Elephant popular with children everywhere. As the 1950s went on, Lucky Elephant became a common sight at carnivals and fairs across America. It stood out from other snacks, catching the eye of both kids and adults. It wasn't just food, it reminded people of carefree childhood days and summer fun at the circus. Ruffles? In 1958, Frito-Lay shook up the potato chip world with Ruffles, a chip with a unique, ridged texture. They wondered if people would prefer these wavy chips over the classic flat ones they knew and loved. Ruffles' ridges weren't just for looks. To me, they made chips better for dipping and gave them a satisfying crunch. This new design made Ruffles perfect for parties, quickly making them a hit. As Ruffles got more popular, Frito-Lay added new flavors. By the 1960s, you could find sour cream and onion and cheddar and sour cream Ruffles in stores. Their catchy slogan became well known across the country.
Ruffles have that extra something. Ruffles are ridges above the rest.
From Frito-Lay.
Ruffles changed more than just snacking. They became part of American culture. The ridged chips stood for a new era of snack innovation, appealing to people who wanted something different. But let's take a look at a different kind of chip, because now I want to tell you about my favorite childhood snack, Charles Chips. Charles Chips weren't just chips. They were a family tradition in our house. I remember my mom would always have a tin of these chips in the house. Yes, you heard right, a tin of chips. The moment the tin lid popped open, that fresh, salty aroma filled the room. We all would dive in, sharing laughter and stories over those perfectly crisp, kettle-cooked chips. There was something about them. Maybe it was the way they stayed fresh in those iconic tins. Or perhaps it was the joy of knowing they were delivered right to your door. Back in the day, you could get a tin for just 50 cents, a small price for something that brought so much happiness. And their advertisements promised exactly what they delivered: the taste of home and the convenience of delivery before it was even a trend. But as supermarkets expanded and shopping habits changed, my beloved Charles Chips delivery service began to disappear. By the 1980s, the truck stopped coming, and those golden tins became a nostalgic memory for many. Thinking about them makes me sad, but I guess that is what nostalgia is all about. Which snack was your favorite childhood snack? Let's share it in the comments below. And since you stayed till the very end, check out this video here too. I am sure you will love it just as much. See you there.